What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Spiritual Intellectual 777 show with your host that does the absolute most, yours truly. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about the beta male personality type within the Male Personality Traits 101 series. And so just to give you some background information over who beta males are, they are pretty much considered the nice guys out of all the male personality types. And this is because they are by nature positive, good-natured, and generally don't deviate from social norms. So in other words, they're not going to deviate from what's considered the norm within the time frame. And they make great friends because they are upstanding people and law-abiding citizens. And romantically, they tend to be more relationship oriented because they want to settle down. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first trait of a beta male is that they are extremely passive aggressive. And this is because, again, they are known as the nice guys out of all the male personality types. You know what I'm saying? Beta males are very mild mannered, and they're not going to communicate exactly how they feel, unlike alphas and sigmas who are going to communicate exactly how they feel to you, and they don't give a damn about how you're going to feel about it. Beta males, on the other hand, are going to be very, very indirect about it. So you're going to have to do some digging into figuring out what they really meant by the response, right? And like I said, they shy away from confrontation and, fighting or anything that has to do with conflict in general. They treat it like the plague, and they want to avoid it at all times because they want to be perceived as good men. And because they want to perceive as good men, they will do anything necessary to maintain that image, if you will. And anyways, the nice guy persona that they're putting on is just exactly that, a persona. And the word persona in the Latin language means mask. And so literally, beta males are wearing a mask to mask who they truly are and how they truly feel. And so they oftentimes are going to say what they really mean under their breath. They're going to, say it with a lot of sarcasm, right? So for example, let's just say, they say a joke about you, it's like, man, I really wish you weren't a jerk sometimes, or man, you got a big ass head. Oh, I'm just kidding. They tend to do that a lot. They tend to really say how they feel about you through a joke, and then they're just gonna blow it off like they're just kidding. No. They are not kidding at all, people. They're not kidding. Just so you know. Basically, beta males just hate conflict. And because of that, they are very passive aggressive and Machiavellian. And if you want more in-depth information about what Machiavellian is and what it means, you can click the link down in the description below to read my entire Instagram post on that. And with that being said, we are moving on to the next point. Right. So the second trait of a beta male is that they avoid conflict. And like I discussed in the last point, they hate conflict, and they'll literally do anything and everything in their power to avoid it. And this is because they want to be well liked, and they want constant validation from people, which makes them come off as very needy. Hint, hint, this is unattractive to females, just so you know. But anyways, beta males just hate the very idea of being hated, and so they want to be liked by everybody. But the thing about it is that when you step into your power, and if you want to be successful, you are not going to be liked by everybody. In fact, you're going to be a very polarizing figure. And if you're well liked by everybody, then there's something wrong with that picture. And beta males often do not realize that. They're so focused and in their heads about who is saying what about them and what people are thinking and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that they literally have no freaking backbone whatsoever. They do not know how to stand up for themselves. And so they wind up just letting people just walk all over them and take everything that they work so hard to acquire and to just treat them like dog shit. And it's sad, man, I was there. I was a beta male once. I was letting, more specifically, I was like this all up until like I got into high school. And then I fine-tuned it afterwards. You know what I'm saying? I'll get to that a little bit after I get off this point. But, for most of my life, I've been a beta male because I've allowed, my family to really just, suppress the rebel inside of me, because I'm an Aquarius by nature. If you guys didn't know, I am an Aquarius. That is my zodiac sign. I was born January 26, 1998. But anyways, Aquarians by nature are very rebellious, and I was a very rebellious ass child. I was just going around and, talking back to the teachers, and I told my mom how I truly felt. And fun fact, I'm gonna tell you, in the 8th grade, I told my mom right in front of her face when we was in Walmart. I remember this day, and I think this was like late 2012, early 2013, to where I told my mom, you are annoying. Just basically speaking my mind. And if you know anything about air signs, we speak our minds a lot. But back to the subject at hand, and why I'm bringing this up, is the fact that, I am by nature a rebel. And I say what's on my mind, and I do what I want when I want to. But because of the programming that came from my family, I felt like I had to suppress who I truly was just to fit into the family, because they didn't improve my authentic self. And in turn, that bled over into my romantic relationships, my friendships, etc., etc., etc. And it caused me to have piss poor boundaries, and it caused me to, be needy and seek constant validation and attention from other people, because I didn't feel confident and secure in myself. But fortunately, I've long since broken out of that ever since I got up with my beautiful significant other that goes by the name of Virginia Francisco. Man, I told you, she's fucking awesome. Like, I really love my significant other. She is amazing. Without her help, I wouldn't be where I am today, literally. I put that on God, And so, it just was really, really my life really transformed after I met my significant other, because, she's a life coach and she's a Reiki healer. She's damn good at it, by the way. And if you need a session from her, I'll make sure to link her social media down in the description below, so that you guys can go ahead and get in touch with her on your own spare time. And I'm gonna just warn you right now that she is no BS, no nonsense life coach, and you really have to do your own work, right? So I'm gonna just tell you this before she tells you, all right? So that there's no surprises, and to weed away all the suckers that really don't want to put in that serious work to heal their wounds. If you want to transform to a beta, to an alpha, or even to a sigma level, if you want to take it that far, then you might want to contact Virginia Francisco. Just saying. And beta males are very agreeable. They pretty much agree with whatever the hell you're saying, because they really do not know what the heck their values are. They really don't. And it's quite sad that they haven't taken that time to get to know themselves on a deep, intimate level. And because they hate conflict, they tend to not be innovative or creative, right? And they tend to not break the rules, and they just follow the rules to a T. They do no more and no less than what they're told. And if you really want to reach that level of excellence and success and mastery over yourself, and having fulfilling relationships, and having a fulfilling career, a fulfilling business, you know what I'm saying? Having amazing sex and an amazing connection with, God / source energy / the universe, and to have great intimacy, you are going to have to get to know yourself, and you're going to have to break out of the beta male frequency and get up on a higher frequency of your higher self. So with that being said, let's move on. The third trait of a beta male is that they suffer from nice guy syndrome. And this is because, since they lack confidence, they hate conflict, and they don't set hard boundaries, they oftentimes get taken advantage of more than the average person, because people know that they can easily bully these guys because they don't have any type of hard boundaries and they don't know what the heck that they stand for. And so, and because they have a hard time setting boundaries, they'll say yes when they want to say no, and vice versa. So let's say, somebody asks a beta male, if they want to cover their shift, right? Well, what a beta male is going to do is say yes, even though the beta male wants to say no, because he may be busy with family obligations, or he may have a church meeting he wants to go to, etc., etc., etc. I'm just making up this scenario as I go along, so no offense to you if you're in this exact situation. But then again, you do need to look at yourself in the mirror and see what you need to change. So I mean, it's not my fault if you get offended. But anyways, beta males, will do, like I said, beta males will do anything to get approval and to be well liked. You know what I'm saying? And so, and because, they have this nice guy persona that they're putting on, they never get what they truly want. And because it makes them frustrated, which in turn makes them very passive aggressive, which is again Machiavellian. And like I said earlier in the video, if you want more in-depth information on Machiavellianism, the link to that Instagram post is in the description below for you to go check out. And I highly, highly, highly recommend that you invest time checking this out, because it is going to help arm you with the knowledge of how to spot Machiavellian people, so that you can avoid having these people in your circle, because you are the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself with, just so you know. And so, beta males are very, very terrible communicators, because they are scared to communicate what they want, because they don't want to come off as assholes and whatnot. And so they're going to literally do anything to get you to validate them. And because of that, you're never going to know truly what their intentions are, or what they truly want, because they're not straight up with you from the start. You know what I'm saying? And so, oh yeah, I'm going to bring this up, and I know this is going to probably trigger a lot of men, but in romantic relationships, they tend to pretend that everything is fine when it is really not. And this is because, they don't, like I said, they don't want to communicate their true feelings, because they're afraid of rocking a boat with their romantic partner, just like they're afraid of rocking a boat with their employer, with other alphas and sigmas, with their family and friends. They're just overall afraid to speak their mind, because they don't want to lose friends. But unlike betas, alphas and sigmas don't give a damn. They're gonna speak what's on their mind. They're gonna do what they want, and they're gonna do what's in their best interest, as opposed to trying to please everybody else, which inevitably makes them seductive. And if you want more in-depth information over alphas and sigma males within this series, I'll link both of those videos in the description below, or I may just put the link to the whole entire playlist, just so you guys can go click on it and watch both of those videos back to back. So yeah. And they do not handle rejection well, and like I said, this is because they hate conflict, and so they want to maintain as many friendships as they can, even at the expense of their own mental and emotional health. Beta males are just so passive aggressive that it's not even funny, and it's quite frankly, it's not even fine, and it's so unattractive and unseductive that women just avoid them like the plague, and other high valuable people in general just avoid them like the plague as well, because they see through the false mask that they're putting on. And the last thing I want to talk about before I move on to the next point is that nice guys aren't truly nice, because they're just doing all of this stuff that I just mentioned, like trying to get being extra nice and being agreeable and whatnot, just so they can get your approval and validation. So with that being said, Let's move on to the next point. Guys, so the fourth beta male personality trait is that they have the herd mentality, right? And because of their agreeable nature, they tend to fall into that herd mentality, or as they call groupthink. And they tend to follow the rules and the norms within whatever group dynamic that they're in, right? And they typically follow the alpha leader of whatever particular social group that they're in. And so they're going to follow all the rules to the T. They're going to do exactly as they're told, like I said, no more, no less. And, you know, because they are stuck with this herd mentality and want to be agreeable and want to people please, they do not achieve power because, again, they do not seek it. Because if you know anything about extremely powerful people, they rub a lot of people the wrong way and they tend to be polarizing. And this is just a full-on nightmare for the beta male. And so they're going to subconsciously sabotage themselves from achieving any high level of success, like, you know, making 6 figures plus in their business, getting the woman that they desire, doing what they love to do instead of doing what mommy or daddy and everybody else wants them to do. Like, beta males really struggle with people pleasing so much. And because of that, they tend to stay stuck and attached to a certain group because they fear standing out. They hate the aspect of standing out and rubbing people the wrong way. Because they don't want to rub people the wrong way, you know, they're just gonna pretty much compromise who they truly are just to get some approval. All right, so on to the next point. So the very last point in this video before I wrap up that I'm gonna talk about is they struggle with women. And I already know that, you know, a lot of dudes are gonna get triggered by this, especially betas, since I'm talking about them. But the reason being is because since they do not really have a backbone, because they don't really stand for anything, right? And so because they don't set them hard boundaries, and because they haven't gotten to know themselves on a deep, intimate level, and because also they follow the herd blindly, like I said in the last point, and that they don't really take risks, that leaves them to be friend zoned a lot of the times. And I get it, you know, nobody wants to be friend zoned. But, you know, if you don't learn to stand up for yourself and you just let people walk all over you and such and such and such, then you just set yourself up for failure in the long run, romantically speaking. And so another thing that I want to discuss is, you know, they have trouble securing a relationship. And because of that, they tend to resent women, and they tend to say that, oh, only type of men that women like are bad boys and assholes and blah, 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 blah. When the fact of the matter is, no, they want a dude who knows what he wants. He knows what he stands for, and he doesn't put her first. You know what I'm saying? Because no woman wants to be responsible for a man's emotions. And because beta males are very needy and they seek validation of women and other people a lot of the times, that is a huge turnoff for them. And because it's a huge turnoff for them, they wind up being in romantic relationships very rarely. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that beta males can't get into a romantic relationship. I'm just saying that it's very rare for them to, because of their very needy nature, and because, you know, they're seeking constant validation from the woman. And another thing that I want to talk about is that they try way too hard to impress a girl, right? I mean, I get it, you know, impressing a lady is a must if you obviously want to win her over. But you don't want to do it to the point that it just becomes very annoying and you just come off as very needy for attention and validation, because that's going to turn her off. You know what I'm saying? And paradoxically, because they keep trying to impress her and buy her gifts and do this, that, and the other, it winds up turning her off, and she's not going to want anything to do with him, right? So realize this, man. is that you do want to be there for the girl and you do want to buy her gifts and whatnot. But don't try to do that on a first date, guys, or when you try to get to know a woman, because she's just going to think that that's weird. She's going to think you're a creep and you're over obsessing over her, guys. You know, yes, you may have seen this in a whole bunch of romance movies where dudes, you know, is showing up on their front porch at night, holding up a boombox, playing music out loud and stuff like that. And they keep trying to invade a girl's personal space, and they keep, you know, trying to get her number or whatnot. Although they may seem romantic in the movies, it's not romantic in real life. In fact, you're going to get the cops called on you more likely than not if you show up on her front door at night blasting music out loud. Hell, the neighbors may even call the cops on your ass because you're just being very weird. You know what I'm saying? So if you catch yourself doing this, please stop yourself in your tracks and ask yourself, like, why am I being needy? Why do I feel like I need to get validation from women or other people? You see, you need to dive deep within yourself to figure out what is the core issue or issues that is causing you to exhibit this behavior in the first place. And when you start identifying it and you start taking proactive measures to heal it, then that's when the magic happens, just like that, right? And you'll transform yourself from a beta to alpha or even a sigma. And another thing that I want to talk about is that, you know, because they keep buying women all of these gifts and trying so hard to get to her attention, trying to impress her, is because they put her on a pedestal and they aren't aware of what their purpose is. And so therefore they'll tend to put the woman, they prioritize getting the wife over pursuing their purpose. But let me tell you this, guys, when you stay focused on your purpose and you start prioritizing doing what you love, that's when you're going to be your most attractive to other women, and not only to other women but to also other people in general, because, you know, you're moving and you're talking with a sense of purpose and you're living with a sense of purpose. And when you do that, that makes you stand out from the norm. And when you stand out for the norm, you tend to be very, very seductive, and you tend to attract everything you want and need to you without even trying. And this is what all successful people in general have realized, is that once they stop needing people and things, that's when they started attracting everything that they ever wanted and then some. So remember that. And the very last thing that I want to talk about before I close out this episode is, because, you know, the reason that beta males are very needy is because they're lacking in amazing, fulfilling romantic relationships. And so they start becoming desperate and they go into overdrive mode and trying to get a girlfriend and attention by any means necessary. And like I said, you know, that makes you come off as very needy and very just all over the place, right? Because, you know, you're, for 1 minute you stand for this, and the next minute you stand for that, and the next minute you stand for that. And people are just gonna, or for the sake of this topic, I'm gonna just stick to women. For women, that's just gonna be, you're just gonna come off as wishy-washy, and they're not going to want anything to do with you. They're going to go for the guy who's grounded in himself and his purpose. And they know right from the get-go that that type of man who's secure in himself and knows what he wants and knows what his purpose is, he's going to be able to take care of her, and he's going to be able to help contribute to her life and not take from her life. And betas so often do this. They just take from people without giving value for how much they're taking. So if you're going to want to receive from other people, you have to give. And beta males, you have to realize this, is that you have to give that which you want to receive. If you want a fulfilling relationship with women, you have to have a fulfilling relationship with yourself, and you have to delve deep and get to know self first before you even think about trying to go on a date with a woman. And that's my philosophy, is to get to know yourself and develop a healthy, intimate relationship with yourself first before you try to go out and date a woman. Because when you get to know yourself and you heal all the core issues within yourself, by the time you meet, quote unquote, the one, then you're going to be able to receive her from the get-go, as opposed to Most of these men who are just dating out here just because they want some kitty cat. You know what I'm saying? It's just wild what most men do, is that they are just very desperate and needy for the cookies, so much so that they compromise their own morals and values. That's pretty much it, guys. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to go ahead and share this on all your social media platforms and with your friends, or with, more specifically, your male friends that are betas that need to see this video, because I want to help them break out of that, you know, and make sure to smash the hell out of that like button. And if you're brand spanking new to the channel, first and foremost, I want to welcome you in with open arms and tell you that I love you and that I care about you, and I thank you for taking the time to come here and spend this time with me. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And once you subscribe to the channel, make sure to click that bell right next to it and turn it from personalized to all, so you get notified every time I upload videos on this channel. And I upload videos on this channel every single Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So this is all the time zones that I listed in America, and if you live anywhere else in the world, you're just gonna have to calculate that on your own, quite frankly. And last but not least, make sure to go check out my merch store if you haven't. If you support the 8 Mil Productions brand and me and Virginia Francisco in general, go ahead and click the link in the description below to go copy your merch. And if you want in-depth detail about the beta male personality and where I pulled my research from, all the links to those articles that I pulled information from is in the description below, so make sure to go check that out. And if you want to know what type of gear I use to record this specific YouTube video or any of my YouTube videos in general, the link to those will be in the description below. And yes, they are Amazon affiliate links, so I will get 10% of whatever you buy from those links, just keeping it 100. And if you would like to donate to the channel, make sure to click the link in the description below to do so as well. And with that being said, peace in and out with the highest vibes, and I'll see you guys next Friday.